and his position. And then we had a brief discussion. So about when people say things like, which is there in Srila Prabhupada's books, like Lord Shiva is a pure devotee, okay, right? Prabhupada says that he's one of the 12 Mahajans, and there's the quotes there in Prabhupada's books. So we were discussing that what do devotees have, or what do devotees want to convey by reading that these passages, right? What do you want to say? For example, you were saying something about, okay, Lord Shiva is a pure devotee, but some devotees were saying that Lord Shiva participates in Krishna's pastimes. And you mentioned that there's a difference between Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan, India, and Goloka Vrindavan, meaning that, the original Krishna pastimes. So can you comment on that? What's it called? Uniquadrental world, and what is the other word you used?
Oh, the uniquadrantal realm.
Okay.
Quadrantal means essentially four-sided. The uniquadrantal realm and the triquadrantal realm. That was written by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati in the Brahma Samhita.
So what does that actually mean?
What it means is essentially that Krishna goes from his dimensionless, timeless abode of Krishna Loka down to earth, which is measured with time in 3 dimensions.
Okay. Okay. I see. Okay. So the unlimited goes seemingly to the limited world, meaning Krishna being unlimited, coming down. Krishna.
But he doesn't just come down like in a hang glider.
Right.
He comes. It all. If you study it, I don't know that I read it, but anyone who wants can look and see what sort of structure. Well, it's in the Brahma Samhita actually. What is the structure that has to be there before Krishna will come in? And does he come in his original? He looks like the original Krishna, but he is not actually. He is some sort of expansion of himself that comes into the material world, because Krishna never comes into the material world in Goloka Vrindavan.
Huh. So you say Krishna. So okay. So
he comes down to. It's almost like it's like a movie of Krishna. He's in reality in Krishna Loka, and on earth, it's almost like a movie where you watch what's happening, but it's not really what it seems to be in the sense of being like Krishna Loka.
Yeah, it seems very hard to grasp because Krishna's pastimes are absolute, right?
Well, of course, they're absolute wherever they occur.
Yes.
And so are Prabhupada's.
Yes.
So you could say Prabhupada did this, Prabhupada did that, but he was absolutely never not expressing or emoting or being part and parcel of his relationship with Krishna, which was ongoing, an ongoing relationship with Krishna, not just, oh, I'm enlightened, now I can do as I please. That's the way people think. But that's not the way it really is.
Okay, so I want to just stop here. Bhanu Prabhu or Vinayak Prabhu, any comments, questions, or clarifications?
Well, are you going to read that paper?
Which one?
The one which we discussed reading when I talked to you today.
Oh, yes, we can read that one. Let's see here.
I think it would be useful.
So, Narayan Prabhu, so when Krishna comes in Goloka Vrindavan, does he assume another body, or what sort of, what do you have to say about that?
Who's asking me?
This is Bhanu Prabhu.
Oh, Bhanu, okay. When he comes from Krishna Loka to Vrindavan, India?
Yeah.
So what is the
Mathura.
question?
I mean,
Mathura, yes.
uh,
Well, I mean, obviously it isn't the same unless you think that Krishna's killing Kamsa in Krishna Loka or sucking the life out of Putana in Krishna Loka. All these pastimes are very specialized. And the personalities of the demons that he killed are like, they are the two demigods that were guarding Vishnu Loka. They came down as demons to be killed.
well, Prabhupada
By
says
Krishna.
that Krishna takes the same transcendental body when he appears in Vrindavan or Mathura. The same transcendental body.
Krishna is always transcendental, but it's not the same sort of experience that he has in Krishna Loka. Because he's not killing demons in Krishna Loka.
Mhm.
He's, and so when people say, "What, Lord, if Lord Shiva appears in Vrindavan," I don't recall the past time where Lord Shiva appeared in Vrindavan, India, with Krishna or in relationship to Krishna, but that's because Lord Shiva is a part and parcel of the material world. He comes, he sits in Kailash, on Kailash.
Can you define part of the material world? You mean his body or his or
No, his presence.
his presence?
Just like, yeah, well, look at Prabhupada.
Yes.
He is a pure spiritual being in the material world,
Okay.
separated only by what we thought was his material body,
Okay.
which was actually just a
Covering.
disguise or
Yeah.
a hint.
Yes.
So
The way
one
of
thing,
his-
Yes, Bhanu Prabhu, go ahead.
so
Yeah.
Lord Shiva is a pure devotee. So a pure devotee has his existence in the spiritual world, doesn't it? That if you simple
Well,
logic.
when you say pure devotee, he's much more than a pure devotee. He's an expansion of Krishna.
Yeah, but Narada is also an expansion of Krishna. If you see, Vasudeva is also an expansion of Krishna, Narada. But Narada
Yeah.
can also go into the spiritual world. So in the same sense, I'm saying.
Well, I don't know. I've never heard of Narada Muni going into Krishna Loka. Have you?
He goes.
No,
He can travel into spiritual worlds.
No.
Any
Take
world,
into
he's free
account.
to travel.
He travels all over inside the universe, this universe. There's hundreds of millions of bubbles, right, that are universes breathed out by Mahavishnu. So many, you can't count them. And when you can't count them from the Mahavishnu point of view, you really can't count them. Some bubbles are big bubbles, some bubbles are tiny bubbles, some are medium-sized bubbles. And every bubble, a Brahma goes inside. And the Brahma, the size of the universe is determined or is reflected in the number of heads that Brahma has. Our Brahma has 4 heads. Other Brahmas have thousands of heads or even millions of heads because they're in such a much bigger universe than we can even imagine. Everything we're thinking is always limited by, I look outside the window, I see the sky, that's the universe. But we don't understand that the universe is a bubble, and inside and next, floating around in the causal ocean, are gazillions of bubbles that are all universes. And Brahma, there's a Brahma in each one. Shiva goes into each one. There's Parvati and Durga in each one. There's all the demigods are in each one. So that's how big it is. It's not unlimitedly big, but it's pretty darn close to unlimitedly big.
well, yeah, there is a pastime in the Krishna book where Narada came to see Krishna, but he did not go to, well, it's here it's saying Mathura. Narada came to see Krishna, and every palace he entered, he saw Krishna was there, and with some wife in some wife's palace.
Dwaraka.
Dwarka,
You're
yes.
talking about Dwarka, aren't you?
Yeah, this is Dwarka, yes.
Yeah, 10,108 wives.
16,000, yeah, 16,108 wives, yes.
16,108 wives?
Yeah,
Okay, 16,108 wives. That means 16,108 palaces.
yes,
And each wife had several children.
yes, it's saying here, yes.
So that is amazing. But he doesn't do that in Krishna Loka.
Right. Krishna Loka pastimes is totally different, yes. Here he's acting like a king in Mathura.
He's expressing the pastimes of a king.
Yes.
And in Vrindavan, he was like a boy, son, cowherd boy, son of Nanda Maharaj and Yasoda.
So simultaneously, two pastimes are going on at once, right?
Meaning?
One is
You mean in Krishna Loka or on earth?
Krishna Loka and earth.
No, the ones in Krishna Loka are Krishna Loka pastimes. The one on earth are earth pastimes. They have no relationship to each other whatsoever.
Okay.
Pastimes are
Because
pastimes.
Krishna's unlimited. Krishna's unlimited. Why would he drag himself into handcuffs with pastimes somewhere else?
No, so I'm saying simultaneously it's going on at the same time at both places, no?
There is no time in Krishna Loka.
Right.
There's only
Everything is-
present in Krishna
everything
Loka.
There's no span of time in Krishna Loka, right?
Yes. Everything is
So
happening
in Krishna
present.
Loka, in Krishna Loka, things occur posthumously. It's not that everybody talks to each other about what they're going to do for Krishna. It's all going on as a huge, amazing, beautiful, orchestrated activities that are so beyond anything we can imagine, because they're all happening in the present tense. Like you could say, but Krishna steals butter and he gives it to monkeys. And then the monkeys do something, and then Mother Yasoda comes and tries to catch Krishna. Isn't there a passage of time between Krishna stealing butter and giving it to the monkeys? What do you think, everyone? Banu, what do you think? Is there a span of time between stealing the butter and giving it to the monkeys?
It's only present. There's no past and future.
Exactly. You're right on the money.
Right.
Because he's always stealing butter. And he's always giving it to the monkeys. So it's not so that if you come and say Krishna's stealing butter, that's your individual jiva speaking perspective. And someone else hearing you say that will fall into a state of ecstasy, because he will hear you talking about Krishna stealing butter and giving to monkeys, which is different than his own experience of that, because his experience is unique to him as a individual jiva, you see?
Yeah.
And then you compound that by unlimited jivas in Krishna Loka. It's just amazing. But the ecstasy is huge, because all of these pastimes produce transcendental ecstasy.
Right. Okay. Any concluding things before we go to the paper?
No.
Then we're going to change topics. So
About the Vaikuntha Lokas.
It's the same topic. Which paper do you have?
Which one do you want to read? There's so many here. You want to read the Hindu one? What is it called? Or which one do you want?
What's the title?
How can a Hindu become a Vaishnava? Srila Prabhupada.
Yes, so that one is good. Yes.
Okay.
Because this is what we're facing.
Okay.
You know, right now we have a godbrother in India who's very up there. There are 3 agencies in India. I keep saying GBC has to be gotten rid of.
Nara Prabhu, just Bhanu Prabhu wanted to ask a question regarding the previous topic.
Oh, absolutely.
Bhanu Prabhu, go ahead.
About the Vaikuntha Lokas, you are saying that the Vishnu has four hands and variations of 4 hands each Vaikuntha Loka. How many
Well,
Vaikuntha
yes,
Lokas are there, Prabhu?
there are 4 configurations of hands, of the ornaments and weapons in the hands. And each of the 4 Vishnus has it in a different configuration. When you have 4 hands, and there's 4 possibilities, and that's what they have. And so in Vishnu,
how many Vaikuntha Lokas are there?
Unlimited.
But if there are 4 hands and 4 to the power of 4 only, so many should be there, no?
No. The Vishnu is on each planet. And
Yeah,
he's surrounded by people, devotees, who are pure devotees. They're Uttama Adhikaris. They are liberated. But their desire is not to participate in Krishna's pastimes. Their desire is to worship Vishnu with awe and reverence. You see? So they, on each planet, they worship Vishnu with awe and reverence. And each Vishnu has a different name. You know, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, I forget the other 2. But in any event, there's plenty of them. If you look at
the
the
unlimited Vaikuntha Lokas, so if you say what you are saying is Vishnu has 4.
Okay, there's
4
only
hands,
one. There's only
and
one.
there are 4
Krishna
combinations. Combinations in 4 to the power of 4 it will go.
Oh yeah.
So
No. I'm not saying
of
that
some
each
number.
planet. No. Bhanu. It's not that each planet has a different configuration of hands, or you'd have to have, each Vishnu would have to have literally an infinite number of hands. It's not like that. It's either 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 out of the 4 expansions, descended expansions from Baladev. Baladev's first expansion is Vasudev. Then after that, Pranadumna, Anuruddha, Sankarshan, I think. In those different ones, their hands are in different places. But on the different Vaikuntha, different Vishnu planets that are floating, you understand that the Krishna Loka, that the Parabhyama, the what's it called, the
Brahman effulgence.
what?
Brahman effulgence.
Yeah, the Brahman, the Parabhyama, Brahma Jyoti. That the Brahma Jyoti, Brahma means supreme, Jyoti means light. All the Brahma Jyotis the Brahma Jyoti exists because the Vishnu planets are all, Vishnu and his disciples and Lakshmis are all expanding light from their individual planets, you see? And because of that, there's unlimited planets. So the rays of light coming out of each planet mingle with the rays of light coming out of each planet, all the other planets. Since there's unlimited, you can imagine the Brahma Jyoti is an intense experience, as you say, Brahman. And in one corner of that Brahma Jyoti, on one corner of the Brahman, is the Mahatattva, or the covering of material life, and that's where the Mahavishnu produces planets for all people to live on. Now you might say in one corner or 1/4, I think, but how do you measure? It's an unlimited. In the Brahman is unlimited in size. There's an unlimited number of planets, but there's the Mahatattva, or the material realm, takes up a percentage. How do you take up a percentage of infinity? This is the sort of thing that scholars are too smart to try to scratch their heads over. It's just take it, that's what it is. You can have 1/4 of infinity, you can. How? No way to describe it, no way to explain it.
So 4 hands and combinations of 4 hands means it will be only a limited number of universes, but they are unlimited Vaikuntha Lokas. That was the question.
There's the Vishnu planets in the Brahmajyoti. There are literally unlimited planets. And on each planet, there's unlimited devotees of Vishnu who are worshiping him with awe and reverence. And they're worshiping him formally.
What I heard is,
Huh?
what I heard from Prabhupada is, for each incarnation of Vishnu, there is a Vaikuntha planet. And that incarnations, like Narasimha, Vaikuntha is there. For Ram, Vaikuntha is there. For Vamana, Vaikuntha is there.
No, Ramachandra is an expansion of Vasudeva, the first expansion of Balaram.
Yeah, each expansion of Lord Vishnu or Krishna has a Vaikuntha planet.
No, Vishnu. Balaram is the first expansion of Krishna. And Vasudeva Vishnu is the first expansion of Balaram. So once that expansion has taken place, then from there, these are planets that can produce posthumous forms of Krishna, but they don't have all the qualities of Krishna. Ramachandra, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Remember, you were reading about the qualities and how I think it was Vishnu or Shiva has like 82 qualities out of 100.
Yeah, percentage. Yeah, the percentage of the super.
Percentage, yeah.
Yeah.
So they're not all the same. They're not
Yeah.
all the same potency.
Yeah.
And they don't do all the same thing. And they're
Yes.
also not all aware of each other. They're all autonomous. They're all independent. So so of all of those Vaikuntha planets that are Vishnu planets, there is only one Krishna Loka, which is a lotus-shaped planet. That's the only one. By our good fortune, we are not being taken to a Vishnu planet to worship Vishnu with awe and reverence. We're being induced, and this is why I'm asking, begging everyone to be so careful that you continue to serve Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so that you don't end up on a Vishnu planet. There's nothing wrong with being there. If you were there, you'd like it. But the main thing is, can you imagine the comparison between worshiping in awe and reverence and worshiping in informal pastimes on Krishna Loka? That's the only planet in existence where you can have informal pastimes. Everything else is structured. So I'm begging everyone, Banu, myself, Ramachandra, everybody, Rupa Manjoy, please do not become enmeshed in the desire to find Vishnu and worship Vishnu, because if you succeed, you'll take a birth on Vishnu planet. And there's no real way to leave, to go to Krishna Loka from there. I'm sure there must be, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, so are we finished with this topic? I'm gonna stop the meeting.
I have a question on
Sure,
that.
sure. Sure.
Manu's full of extremely intelligent questions,
Yes.
so we should let him ask them.
Could I ask a question?
Who?
Janas Priya.
Anastriya, yes, of course.
Prabhu,
Your question
I have challenged people on this topic, and I'd like to see what your response is. If the Vishnu Loka Express stopped right there where you are right now.
What?
If a Vishnu plane came and could take you to Vishnu Loka, if you were qualified to go to Vishnu Loka, will you get on it, or will you stay in LA?
No, because I'm not looking for salvation.
So you wouldn't get on the plane?
Of course not.
Okay.
I would say, no, I'm here to serve Krishna, as Prabhupada said in his lecture. And the Vaishnava doesn't even want Krishna. The Vaishnava is saying, who am I to associate with Krishna? Let him play with gopis. and let me stay here and serve him.
Let us stay in the league for 10K and serve humanity.
So we can say, let's stay here and serve Lord Chaitanya. Let's stay and serve Krishna. We don't need to, if we want salvation, we can jump on a Vaikuntha plane if we like. Would you like to do that? Maybe you do.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not, Prabhu?
Many
Yeah.
people
You're
prefer.
the only person that has ever answered no. And I asked plenty of people, all kinds of people.
Because Vishnu could guide us to Krishna also, Krishna Loka also from there.
What?
Vishnu could guide us to Krishna Loka also. We could go to Krishna Loka also if you have a strong desire over there.
How would that work?
It would work.
Actually not, because Lakshmi wants to be Radharani and she cannot.
No, that is Krishna's expansion. Narayan's Vishnu's expansion.
Yeah,
we're talking of Vishnu Lokas. So
yeah, we're talking about the unlimited Vishnu Loka planet.
yeah, Lakshmi wants to be Radharani, and she could not become Radharani.
But Gopakumara went from Vishnu Loka to Goloka Vrindavan also. He went through all the spiritual worlds. Gopakumara's story.
How? Who said? What is your reference?
Pastime of Gopakumara.
Of what?
Gopakumara, a devotee. He went through all the material worlds and then the spiritual worlds and eventually reached Goloka Vrindavan.
Which one of Prabhupada's books did you read that?
In a lecture I heard it.
I'm sorry?
It's a Brihad Bhagavatam, I think so. It's mentioned in the Brihad Bhagavatam.
And Prabhupada wrote that?
I don't know.
We have to be very careful because over the years, people have shaped Shastra to suit themselves.
Brihad Bhagavatam, Sanatana Goswami wrote it, right?
Did he say? Did he?
Sanatana Goswami.
Well, then please wait before you say it.
Yeah, Brihad Bhagavatam is written by Sanatana Goswami.
To say things, we can't assume anything.
We can't assume anything.
Right. We can't assume anything. We must have the exact reference from the right source. And then that's where the trouble begins, because then we have to understand the right source, the right statement from the right source in the right context. Because I can say, oh, I saw that, and that applies somewhere else. What if it doesn't? We have to be sure that whatever we quote applies to the situation that we are studying at the moment or gazing at the moment. This is all based, all of this, Bhanu Prabhu, as you well know, all of this is actual reality. The material world is not reality. It's a perverted reflection of reality or activities, etc. But what we're talking about is actual reality, the reality of the structure of the spiritual universe and how it operates outside of the time. So anyhow, is there more? Basically, if you want to go to Vishnu Loka, it may be possible to go from Vishnu Loka to Krishna Loka, but not on an airplane. It's not like Air India, where you can buy a ticket and go wherever you like. Everything is based on your relationship to Krishna.
It's not an ordinary airplane.
You can't.
It's an airplane used in Vaikuntha Lokas. That airplane comes and takes you if you want to. The Vishnu Dutas come on an airplane which is used. Swan airplane.
Where does it come from?
Vishnu Loka.
Which Vishnu Loka?
Anyway, you're just
visions.
complicating
There
it.
are we just discussed. There are unlimited, infinite number of Vishnu lokas.
Each
So which
is
one?
unique. They're not the same copy as Vishnu lokas. It's one for each avatar.
There's 4 different types, and then multiply that by infinity.
Janaspriya Prabhu, isn't it like Narsimha Dev has one Vaikuntha Loka and Vamana Dev has one Vaikuntha Loka? Isn't it in that way?
I'm not sure.
Basically, like Ramachandra, if you want to find Ramachandra's planet, you go to the planet of Vasudeva, you'll find Vishnu. But from that Vishnu expands Ramachandra into the material world for pastimes. Lord Ramachandra is not on the same level as Krishna, but he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead nonetheless, but in a limited posthumous form. Okay. So, but then when Ramachandra leaves, I don't know what happens when he leaves, but he doesn't go to a Ramachandra Loka. He goes back to Vasudeva. All the avatars that come from Vishnu return to Vishnu. Does that make sense? Otherwise, you'd have quite a crowd and no way to handle it. So what's happening? Any Banu, more questions?
Yeah, Prabhu.
Okay, so are you satisfied up to this point?
Okay.
See, and in the Mahatattva, that's where Mahavishnu is. So when he breathes out the bubbles, they become material universes, and we're in one of them. And not a very big one, because Brahma has only 4 heads. But if you read the Brahma Samhita, it will describe the exact relationship of Goloka and Gokula. Okay? So, Ramachandra, are you going to put up the... You're in charge, so you do what people in charge do, okay?
Okay, 1 second. So let's end the session here. I want to make a smaller session. So once this